think this is going to be very, very special indeed.
Alright, I've got it all. That's what subscribe to my channel. Oh shit.
So we are now just a couple of minutes away for what I think will be one of the highlights of the flight display programme today. We are expecting the next item to be the Royal Air Typhoon. If you were listening to our broadcast earlier this morning before flight started, you would have heard an interview with the pilots this year, who is Squadron Leader Nathan Shorer, and he mentioned his very special arrival. For this year, the Typhoon makes a crowd rear arrival. Very similar to the Battle of Brick Memorial flights, the aircraft will first appear behind you and come over your head towards the runway. So if you have young ones with you, perhaps just warn them of that. That would be surprisingly loud and over your head. Now, Nathan has quite an interesting history already in the Royal Air Force. He was a member of the Air Cadets, joined the Royal Air Force at the age of 18 in 19. And you also get a tremendous effect from the condensation that we're going to see forming on the aircraft as they go through its paces today. this next manoeuvre. Now this is something very special indeed, the fence to the Cosford Eagles. The parent European EJ 200 afterburning turbofans, £13,500 of thrust without afterburner, £20,000 with afterburner engaged, and it powers the aircraft to a top speed. Back into positive G. Another what's known as gently turn straight in front of the strong. Outbound. I was talking about some of the leads where I tune in. And also provides us with carefully handling the pilot can't take the aircraft outside of the elements. You've got roll control of the small flaperons, combination of flap and aileron on the wings. The flaperons are canard forward.
too quick with your arms.
On exchange, United States Marine Corps, before then returning back to the UK and flying our newest aircraft, the 5th generation F-35B, with 617 the Dambrusters at RAF Marham. You now see red 2 out of 3 make their way forwards, and the rest of the formation form a delta formation. And a celebration of 20 years of the Royal Air Force Typhoon display team. On the right, this is Typhoon! An extremely hard position for him to fly because again, we take our formation references from Red 1. And not necessarily the aircraft on the inside of him. He's looking all through that formation, taking that reference out of Red 1. Chris McCann is in his second year of the team. Once again, he was taken from training, made an instructor on the Scarlet before joining the TR4 Tornado Force, where he got an AFC for his service on operations over Afghanistan. Coming in from the left to celebrate the Royal Air Force new capability in space and cyber, this is Apollo. We are of course commanded by Officer Commanding Rapat, Red 11 Wing Commander Adam Collins, former Tornado DR4 pilots. Also flew the Hawk in the aggressor role with 100 Squadron and an F-111 while on exchange with the Royal Australian Air Force. And Wing Commander Collins is in his final year as Red 11. You now see him split once again with Red 6 and 7 in trails. Royal Air Force Cosford, get your campers ready for the colourful and noisy Big Vixen. It makes the pilots fly with a higher throttle setting, thereby producing a hotter engine gas temperature. It makes the smoke burn a lot more brightly, and it also creates an air disturbance outside the back of the aeroplane, making that smoke billow a lot more fuller, and therefore in certain manoeuvres we use it to enhance those manoeuvres. You'll now see Red 6 and 7 sit behind Red 1 in the scary Red 8 and 9 in trails as they come around to right for one of the most popular, if not the most popular, the Red Arrows fly. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get your cameras ready. It's tornado time! Eight and 9, roll, go. 8 and 9, roll around the rest of the formation. Watch for the colour change as red one brings them down the line.
Over 120 them are the engineers, the logisticians, the visual communicators, the administrators, and they are known as the Blues due to the colour of their blue flag the world. And of course, a number of Blues here today are public relations sent at the far end of the showground. So Blues, pop along, say hello, find out about their careers in the Royal Air Force Aerobatic Team and the wider Royal Air Force. You'll see Reds 8 and 9 have now joined the rest of the formation. This is your last opportunity to catch the red arrows in our world famous Diamond 9. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from the left in the Diamond 9, the red arrows. As we start the second half, it's the more dynamic second half, we now operate two distinct sections. Off to the left, you've got Reds 1 through 5, known as Enid, named after Enid Blyton's famous 5. And off to the right, Reds 6, 7, 8 and 9, known as Hannah, named after squad leader Ray Hannah. One of the first members of the Red Arrows. He's the first team leader to lead the team for 4 years. He took the team from a 7 to a 9, and won the world famous Diamond 9. Enid from the left, Hannah from the right, for the colourful 5-4 cross.
Must be slow if helicopters can keep up with it.
Yeah.
That's where they went when they took off before.
I'll go get that other one.
In the RAF Museum Midlands here, you might well have gone to see the British Aircraft Corporation TSR-2, that cancelled 1960s strike aircraft, the history of which remains somewhat of a talking point to this day. Well, it wasn't the first TSR-2, because when Fairey developed a biplane torpedo bomber to meet an Air Force specification for the Fleet Air Arm of the Royal Navy in the early 1930s, it was dubbed TSR-2. TSR standing in this instance for Torpedo Spotter Reconnaissance. Based on their earlier TSR-1, design, but with a more powerful version of the present Pegasus engine, slightly swept back wings, a longer rear fuselage, and the ability to operate on either wheels or floats.
Holy shit, we'll be back shortly.
Enable the two American fighters to head on their way, ready to be time for that final item of our flight program here at Cosford for 2025.
American fighters.
Yeah, I heard that song. No, I heard it after.
That's plenty about car. Now it's time to prepare yourself for the highlight of today's flying, Cosford. Please turn your eyes to the sky for the 2025 Chinook World demonstration.
There she goes. Chinook is deployed operation all over the world. It's the go-to aircraft for rapid insertion and extraction of troops in dangerous locations. As the defence adage goes, the answer is to Chinook. What is the question? That's applied ever since the Chinook joined the RAF in 1980. It's true today as it was then. To start the show, Cal's giving us a wing over, rapidly turning back on the target, trading its speed for height and back again. The crew are now preparing in the cabins to drop on troops onto target. As the aircraft turns in for a downwind quick stop, they will simulate a lake spot of the landing site to offload troops and vehicles either on or off the battlefield. In the back, they're being efficient with their weapon, making sure it's suitable to land on in the minimum possible time to avoid any threat exposure. Having found their site and making their approach, crewman Josh up front will be giving voice marshalling directions to Cal, talking him forward and down onto the landing site, monitoring the height of the aircraft as she comes into land.
Did it right behind pissing.
On the ramp for you today is Flight Sergeant Dave Sims. Born and raised in Margate, Kent, he joined the RAF in September 2014 as a weapons systems operator and has been on the Chinook Force since 2017. He's a qualified helicopter proven instructor, what like if you will, to see just how critical these enablers are of working fast. With the troops in qualified guard, the aircraft departs with over-the-shoulder transition. A defensive manoeuvre presents a core ballistic protection towards any probable threat. This gives the aircraft and any occupants the greatest possible chance of protection. With the aircraft turned away, count times the aircraft to return and provide some mutual support. Think of this profile as overhead protection for the troops now exposed on the ground, or alternatively, it allows a pair of Chinooks to land in sequence without any loss of airborne protection. We don't have any guns fitted for you today, but if we did, you'd see Dave and Josh ready to deploy the crew-served weapon systems. The Chinook will be fitted with an M60 machine gun on the ramp and two M134 miniguns with a 4-star size, each of which is capable of firing 3,000 rounds a minute, or 50 rounds a second, making one hell of a noise. The Chinook and its crew can protect itself from deter engagements anywhere in the world. As they dive away for another windowing, it's time to introduce our co-pilot on today's show. Joining Callum in the cockpit is Flight Lieutenant Jacob Cameron Johnson. CJ is originally from Cosford, he's riding Yorkshire, joined the RAF in 2016, got his wings in December 2021. He spent his first 12 months showing off to air cadets by flying them and other air experienced passengers in Rob Cheetah from RAF Wittering. CJ is making the team joining the front line in 2023. Feel free to call him a crow, he's here. He's an avid fan of Formula One, and when he realised he was too tall, he decided to become a Chinook pilot. Get ready for F1, CJ, the best noise in the world is that Billy blade slap. The crew are now positioning for a fast roping approach, decelerating rapidly to accurately dispatch troops on a tight or otherwise unsuitable landing site. Think about rooftops or the deck of a ship, but today it's in front of you, lucky devils.
Behind a fucking tent again.
In the starboard door you can see Josh kicking out groups ready to supervise the dispatch of troops, while Dave does the same at the ramp. Unfortunately, due to operational commitments, we don't have any troops to demonstrate for you today, but you will still see the ropes go out. Up to 30 troops begin departing the hovering Chinook in less than 2 minutes of that profile. Not just troops, stores and kit, but even some furry land sharks, more broadly known as military working dogs, that go down the rope, often giving the enemy pause and force when fitted by a whisker.
Do not do that one off.
Calvin passed another over the shoulder. Dave was just approaching the ramp, but Josh is now working hard to pull his back into the cabin. So let's watch getting a sweat on and introduce him at the same time. Sergeant Josh Lyons is a Staffordshire lad. He joined the RAF in 2014 as an aerospace systems operator and posted to Scotland. In 2017 he made the right choice to retrain to aircrew and became a weapons systems operator. In his 5 years on the Chinook Force, Josh has accumulated over 1,200 hours on Chinook, completed multiple operational deployments, been on Queen Days, and conducted overseas exercises in Sweden, Denmark, Poland, Cyprus, Jordan, and the US. Outside work, he enjoys travelling, skiing, and cruising as a season ticket holder at Wolverhampton Wanderers. This is the highlight of the Royal Demo season for Josh, having grown up in nearby Cambridge. He attended Cosford Air Show yearly as a child with his dad, who sadly passed away in 2021. Josh has dedicated his memorial today to his memory. Well, for those of you who are keeping an eye on that JHS team on the ground, the crew are now returning in to pick up that quad bike, which has been rapidly re-prepared by JHS as an underslung load. Underslung loads are the bread and butter of the Chinook Force,
I didn't know that.
with all crew members front and back dusty hard like the devil, saving a nasty shot. As they transition away with that quad bike, they're watching the swing.
Chinook is used in operations moving stores, freight vehicles everywhere from Afghanistan to Wade Bridge. The Chinook can carry 3 underslung loads simultaneously and carry up to 11.3 tons on its centre hook alone. This quad bike attached to the aft hook weighs just 350 kilos, but if it can be rigged, the Chinook and the hookers can take it. This capable aircraft is even able to pick up another Chinook, albeit with a few bits cut on to save some weight. With a maximum all-up mass of 24.5 tons, this workhorse can comfortably fit 30 troops inside, with seating on the floor and sophisticated. The raw power and versatility of the Chinook is all down to its 91 fantastic design, giving all that offer. Besides huge amount of benefits from a large cabin, it's all achieved without any of that dangerous messing about the tail ropes. Leading JHS today on the ground, we have Corporal George, who served 9 years with the British Army Air